In case you've repressed it, because I know that I have, a while back I reviewed a game called Batman Dark Tomorrow, which I maintain is the absolute worst Batman game that has ever been cursed upon this planet. Horrendous combat, odd, awful story, non-existent stealth, plotting controls, and fixed cameras that go out of their way to piss you the hell off. And yet, I'm still not done. I promised a few of my viewers that I would review the comics as well, and I'm here to deliver on that promise, so let's dig into Batman Dark Tomorrow number 1 and number 2, and finally wash our hands of the unpleasantness that is this game. The Dark Tomorrow comics are kind of a strange story. The first one came packaged with an issue of Nintendo Power, and don't ask me which issue because I have long since forgotten and you shouldn't care anyway. The second issue came packaged with the game itself, or maybe just with specific copies of the game. I don't know and I don't care. By massive twist of fate, I happen to own both comics. My used copy of the game didn't come with the instruction booklet, but the comic was inside in pristine condition. The guy who owned the game previously kept the instruction booklet, but didn't keep the limited edition comic. Kind of telling about the comic's quality, isn't it? Our tale begins with Batman being tied up by Poison Ivy, who has decided to start wearing pants since we saw her in Batman Vengeance. You never call, you never write. Dear Pamela, I think we should start seeing other people. Maybe you should try fighting Green Lantern sometime. He's been bummed out ever since his movie tanked. Then you just show up and expect action? Well, you came to the right place. Oh no. Please tell me that this isn't some whacked-out Batman porno. Batman headbutts Poison Ivy, and give the girl some credit, after taking 2 bat ears to the face, she's still horny as hell. The next several panels depict Batman cutting his way out of the vines and then throwing smoke bombs and a batarang with a wire at Ivy. When the smoke clears, Poison Ivy is tied up, and Batman stands triumphant over his defeated foe. Wow, what an epic fight scene. It lasted a whole of 1 page. Apparently bondage is the thing that gets Poison Ivy out of the mood because she says, "You can forget about anything happening tonight." Oh, I forgot to mention, there's a seemingly omniscient narrator that talks over this entire comic. It never ends. I've been fighting crime for 73 years and then they decided to do a reboot. It's never going to end, is it? Night after night, psychos all wanting the same thing. No, Bane, for the last time, you cannot drive the Batmobile. To them, it's a game. To him, it's life or death. Batman saw mazes and monsters. He knows how messed up games can get. We then have a page where Batman and Oracle have a conversation that doesn't have anything to do with anything, so I'm going to skip it. Batman takes Poison Ivy back to Arkham Asylum, where he gets scolded by Jeremiah Arkham, the head of the asylum. Now, I'm going to try and imitate the voice that they gave Dr. Arkham in the video game. Try not to find this annoying. Would you gentlemen be so kind as to reacquaint our guest with her accommodations? If she so much as twitches, sedate her. Yes, that is the voice that they gave Jeremiah Arkham for the video game. You thought that the Joker and Batman had bad voice actors? Oh no! The voice acting was terrible all around!
Guess again, Batman.
Zaz.
It's my turn now, Batman.
Took you long enough to bring her back this time, Batman!
Well, excuse me, princess.
Batman decides that he doesn't have to put up with this crap, and he storms out. Keep an eye on the asylum, Doctor. Something's going to happen soon. Be prepared. Gee, the foreshadowing is so subtle. Dr. Arkham begins making fun of Batman again when one of the other doctors mentions that there's a problem with Killer Croc. You'd think this would cause Batman to stop dead in his tracks and ask what's wrong so he can stop Croc before he kills someone, but no, next page he's paying a visit to Commissioner Gordon. And good for him, he managed to make it to Gordon without dying 50 times like I did when I tried it in the video game. Nice job on Poison Ivy. Now can you do something about the Scarface and ventriloquist? You know, I'm starting to feel a little underappreciated here. Scarface is about to go to war with Black Mask, and Batman and Gordon are worried that the resulting gang war could tear the city apart, but it turns out Gordon has something else on his mind too. There are rumors floating around. Nobody knows anything for sure, but everyone is nervous. I've felt it myself. Hey, writers, having characters say I have a bad feeling about this over and over again does not qualify as foreshadowing. Then another detective, whose name I'm sure I should know but I don't, comes in to say that Killer Croc is loose. Considering the doctor at the asylum was concerned about Killer Croc and Batman is the world's greatest detective, you'd think Batman would have seen that coming. The next page depicts Scarface and Black Mask rallying their gangs for war, and for some reason Scarface can't pronounce B's, which I don't understand. I've never seen other ventriloquists have difficulty pronouncing B's, so my only explanation is that the ventriloquist sucks at being a ventriloquist. Then we finally get some actual foreshadowing for the video game, as Ventriloquist and Black Mask both mention that they have gotten some new weapons from an unknown benefactor. Congratulations, one page in this entire comic that actually has something to do with the video game, even though it turns out the entire gang war was just filler that was completely dropped a third of the way through the game, but that's just nitpicking. Batman is driving in the Batmobile when he decides to have a flashback to the night that his parents died. I admit this is my own personal pet peeve, but honest question, how many times have we seen this exact scene? I've seen these two people get shot more times than the guy from RoboCop. The video game itself even has a cutscene that reenacts the shooting. I understand that this is the event that changed Bruce's life forever and opened his eyes to how crime shatters people's lives and compelled him to become Batman, but we get it already! His parents are dead! Can we move on? Also, mother of all nitpicks, in the video game and in every other iteration of this scene that I've ever seen, the mugger is holding a revolver, and in the comic, the mugger is holding a regular handgun. Plus, the way the comic's panels are laid out, for the longest time I thought the mugger was firing 2 guns in this comic. Batman arrives at the docks to confront Killer Croc. You'll notice that I haven't mentioned the narrator in a while because the narrator's captions are mostly just inane babbling about how awesome Batman is, but I guess that I'll resume reading the narrator's captions. His quest takes him places like Costco and Walmart, like a factory when he sees it's been broken into in the middle of the night, and when he hears someone screaming in pain, the Batman knows it's a trap.
It's a trap! You have to imagine me with a giant squid head.
Batman comes across a security guard clutching his throat with little red M&Ms squirting out. Oh, wait, that's supposed to be blood. Batman takes out a little can and sprays the guard with some kind of antidote? Batman, the guy is pretty clearly not dying of poisoning, and I don't think this cure for a slit throat comes in a handy soda can. While Batman is tending to the guard, Croc bashes him over the head and knocks him into a wall, and so the first comic ends with Batman getting hoisted into the air by Killer Croc and a caption saying, "It can't end like this." It'd make my job simpler if it did. If Batman dies, that means there's no shitty video game to suffer through. On to the second comic, and I remind you that the second comic is the one that came packaged with the game itself. Issue 2 begins with a giant title saying, "Approaches." What approaches? What is approaching? And if you're not referring to a noun, then what are you taking approaches to? This title confuses me. Anyway, the comic begins with Killer Croc slinging Batman around like he's a tube sock with a gerbil inside it, and the narrator starts talking again. Death. For the Batman, it's never far away. Now I have a mental image of the Grim Reaper from Family Guy following Batman around all day waiting for him to kick the bucket. Whether it's a beautiful woman with a poisoned touch, or the keeper of the world's most dangerous asylum, or the beleaguered commissioner of the city's police, or a pair of mafia rivals going to war for no apparent reason, or the Taco Bell he had for lunch having unforeseen consequences, or a humanoid reptile showing sudden cunning, death is always just one step behind. Okay, too much concentrated stupid, I have to stop here. 1. Why does the comic include Dr. Arkham and Commissioner Gordon in the list of reasons why death is close to Batman? I guess they need to recap the events of the first comic, except nothing worth mentioning happened in the first comic. 2. A humanoid reptile showing sudden cunning? Killer Croc must be really freaking stupid if he never thought up the plan, use a civilian as bait before. Isn't that the oldest trick in the book? Batman gets away from Croc by pulling out some Bat Croc repellent. No, seriously, look at this panel and tell me that's not exactly what it looks like. But the next panel shows Batman leaping away and there's skin-colored crap all over Croc's face. Oh, now I get it. Batman was treating Croc's victim with synthetic skin. Because bandages are just too low-tech for the Batman! But for the Batman, that one step can make all the difference. Then out of nowhere, the comic cuts to Commissioner Gordon's office. I've been a cop for a long time, and I know this city, and there's something big and bad headed this way. Oh good, more ever so subtle foreshadowing. Inexplicable breakouts from Arkham. That's an everyday occurrence, Jimmy. I thought you said that you knew this city. And there's something else, something we're about to face. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it feels as though Gotham is headed for the abyss. Yes, we get it! The title of the video game is Dark Tomorrow! We already know something bad is about to happen! Enough of the damn foreshadowing already! Batman and Croc fight some more until they fall onto a conveyor belt and Croc falls down a hole into another room. I actually had to recheck this page several times before I figured out what happens next because the action is laid out so poorly. Croc gets his arm stuck in some kind of printer roller thing, but Batman shoves a batarang into another thing to stop the machine, and then he saves Croc. Great action scene, I can barely tell what's supposed to be going on. Batman takes Croc back to the asylum, and Croc appears to be receiving medical attention. Batman is about to walk away when Croc stops him to ask a question. "Why did you save me?" And Batman replies, "Because all life is sacred, even yours." Oh, really? Is that why in Batman Returns you set a goon on fire with the Batmobile's engine, used the bat grapple to bash a guy over the head with a brick, and stuck a stick of dynamite down some guy's pants and let it explode into tiny bits? The moral of that story? I hate Batman Returns. Also, you fight Killer Croc in the Dark Tomorrow video game, and when you fight him, he's not receiving medical attention, there's no mention of Batman having saved his life a few nights ago. Hell, I'm guessing after Croc got his arm stuck in that roller thing, the bones in his arm are probably crushed rubble by now. But nope, when you find him in the video game, Croc is perfectly fine. The comic that came packaged with the video game directly contradicts the video game. Also, a little refresher on how epic the game's Killer Croc boss fight was. Then the narrator chimes in again. "And so, for one more night, death remains at least one step away." Batman calls Oracle. "Hold on a second. At least one step away. Sorry, just wanted to finish a thought." Wait, Oracle was the narrator this whole time? Lady, you seriously need a hobby if you use your spare time to monologue about how awesome Batman is. You've got like 5 computers there. Download some Team Fortress 2. Play Minecraft. Find something. Oracle tells Batman that everything is quiet and that the guard that Killer Croc attacked is going to be fine. Also, check out Batman's massive and poorly drawn chin in this panel. Then the comic shows a series of computer monitors showing Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Killer Croc, Scarface, and Black Mask, for no apparent reason. And so our comic ends with the Batmobile speeding away and a caption reading, "The beginning!" The beginning of what? Nothing happened in these comics! When you actually go through the comics and break them down, what the hell happened in these 2 books? Issue 1, brief fight with Poison Ivy. Vague and non-specific foreshadowing. Issue 2, brief fight with Killer Croc. More vague and non-specific foreshadowing. These comics don't have any story to them, and aside from the 1 page that establishes the gang war, these comics have nothing to do with the video game. Not only do these comics suck, but they have no reason to exist. They tell no story, they have nothing to do with the video game, and the action in both comics is really lame. Overall, these comics are both just a massive waste of time, which makes them perfect tie-ins to the video game.